Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, welcome back. This is Victory Monday. Good morning. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Episode 611 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. A lot of things to talk about today. A lot of sports went down over the weekend, especially here in Pittsburgh. One of my favorite things is there's not a team. There's not a football team on the North Shore that plays on the North Shore that has any losses yet. Every team that plays on the North Shore is still undefeated in this young football season. We'll get into more of those, both of those teams here shortly. Also, over the weekend, we had more NFL action. We had college action. We had Pittsburgh Penguins. They were back in action against the Sabres the other night. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Paul Skeens Day, Caitlin
A lot
Clark,
going on.
the Indiana Fever starting their playoff run yesterday. Whole lot of stuff to talk about, Mike. Good morning. How are you?
Victory Monday after a vintage Steeler victory. How can you not be fired up right now?
Absolutely. A lot of Steeler
Oh,
talk today. Guys, it is Victory Monday. I want to start off by saying a couple of things. I was partially wrong. I picked the wrong winner. I picked the Chargers yesterday when we were doing our picks on
mm,
Brian's show. And you know what? I don't regret it. I at the time it's what I felt, and I thought that you know what this team reminded me of a Ravens team. And with that being said, I thought that it would be a good game. And you know what it was? It was a good game.
yeah.
There were certain points during the game I'd turned to Mike and I'd said, you know what, this is just like a Ravens game. But somebody on the board on Brian's show yesterday had said something that made a lot of sense. They said, you know what, they're very similar, but you know what, they don't have that fight that the Ravens have.
Mm-mm.
And that's what I seen. That's the difference that I seen in the game against the Chargers and in a game against the the Ravens. A lot of similarities, though, guys. You had a Harbaugh coach. Excuse me. The Ravens have a Harbaugh coach. The defense was stingy. The Ravens' defense was stingy. They were powered around their running game. The Ravens power from their running game. So basically, it was a watered down version of the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Ravens basically built themselves to be like the Steelers to compete with the Steelers in the division. So when it all came down to it, we didn't get out Steelered, which I thought that was my concern. I thought
Yeah.
maybe these guys might just out Steeler us because we're trying so much to do other things in the
Hmm.
passing game, and we're not really. What did I say yesterday? We have to go in and impose our will, but we don't know what our will is. But you know what? I think we might have found out a little bit about our will yesterday.
Oh,
Three
big
games
time.
into the season, and I say constantly, we're going to learn. We're going to learn about this team. We're going to learn about this team every week. Going into week one, we're going to learn about this team. Going into week two, we're going to learn. And yesterday, I think we learned a lot about this team. Closing in on the 1/4 mark of the season already, which I can't believe. But the Steelers were able
Season's
to do
going
it.
fast.
It's going real fast. They ended up doing a lot of things that makes you happy yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And again, we're going to go through all of those things. Good morning. Good morning to you, Ron. It is 11:07 p.m. in the Philippines. Wow, man.
That's dedication right there.
Um, but the NFL continues tonight, guys. The league still has games. There's two Monday night games. We'll talk about them near the end of the show because that will be what I'm going to be interested in later on tonight. Of course, the Cincinnati Bengals going to be in action. We've been watching around the division, Mike. The Ravens and the Browns both played yesterday. We could have very well seen two losses from those two teams.
Ooh, very
However,
close.
we didn't. The Ravens did win, and the Browns they found a way to screw it up one more time. Not only to they didn't only screw it up, they played the worst team ever.
Yeah.
That
The Browns will Browns.
The New York Giants, once they lost Saquon Barkley, I've come to the conclusion they are the worst team ever.
Hmm.
And the Browns found a way to lose. And from what I understand, everybody's ready to get Deshaun Watson the hell out of town.
Oh, they were chanting for Jameis Winston in the stands. So there's about to be some unrest up in Cleveland. It wouldn't surprise me even if the locker room starts turning on him. You know that you're wasting a damn good defense. You're wasting some really good offensive players with bad quarterback play. And I love to see it. It couldn't happen to a better organization, couldn't happen to a better person. I'm loving every second of this.
So that's all good. We're gonna take it because you know what? That's these guys are expected to be over top of us
Yeah.
in the standings this year. Matter of fact, everybody was
Everyone.
picked. Everybody was picked to be over top of us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike. Those other teams, they're sitting right here with like a 2-6 record right now.
Yeah.
So are we better than what people expected? Are these teams just not as good as people expected? Are we getting the ball go our way? Are we so again, we're gonna go over all these things.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna start with one of the most we're gonna start with the bad side, the dark side of town in this Troy Fatanu injury.
Yeah.
Now he dislocated his kneecap.
Yeah.
So our first round guy, Troy Fatanu, dislocated kneecap. He is done for the season. He's getting surgery to repair the ligaments in his kneecap, and he could be eligible to come back, providing the Steelers make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So, the last time we seen an injury like this, Mike, this early, big top dog hurts his knee, out for the season, could be back for the playoffs, was the guy that went by the nickname Hot Rod back in the day.
Yeah.
And
He did all right in his career.
and he made it back. He made it back for the Super Bowl. So, um,
Hopefully history repeats itself.
well, Mike, I have something interesting for you here.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, he joined a very interesting group
I saw
of guys.
this. I saw
Now,
this.
every quarterback that's ever started 3-0 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, every quarterback that's ever started 3-0 for the Pittsburgh Steelers ended out representing the Steelers in the Super Bowl at some point in their career.
Mm-hmm.
He became the fourth guy now to start the season 3-0 as a Steeler quarterback. The other three being, of course, Terry Bradshaw, Neil O'Donnell, and Big Ben Roethlisberger. So if any quarterback had come here and started 3-0 in the history of this team, at some point they took this team to the Super Bowl. So I'm not saying, listen,
The numbers don't lie.
that's always my argument. Numbers don't
The
lie.
numbers don't lie.
People do. Now, with that being said, is this team going to go to the Super Bowl? I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you look around, we were part of 5 teams that are left that's remained. It's unbeaten. Us, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, who play tonight, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, once you're talking about groups of teams that's still undefeated when everybody else isn't, teams like Minnesota and Seattle certainly doesn't pop to my mind when I think of teams that would be in this position usually.
Mm-hmm.
So what's this time? It's kind of a weird year. I think the 49ers lost again. Did they lose again?
They lost again.
So they're 1-2.
Their defense collapsed. Yeah.
Philadelphia, they played a showdown with the New Orleans Saints, who appeared to be really, really good the first couple of weeks, scoring a lot of points, doing a lot on offense. Dallas goes down. Green Bay wins, but they don't look great. The Lions don't look that great. I mean, they're good. So this could be one of them years, guys, that it's anybody's game. Or Kansas City's just going to go all the way again like they always do, and we just have to suck up and take it.
They're not looking too hot this year.
They're not. And you know what? Travis Kelce, for the third straight game, has no touchdowns. He had 4 receptions, 30 yards, guys.
Yeah.
4 catches, 30 yards, no touchdowns for the third straight game. But this team is still undefeated.
Yeah. They're finding ways to win.
As we said yesterday on Brian's show, they don't really have a number 1 receiver. Their tight end is the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that's what scares me about Kansas City. They don't have to be healthy. They don't have to have the most ideal situations. They don't have to. They kind of fly on that level, that level above everybody else. I don't know what that is, but you take Patrick Mahomes out of this situation, you're going to have the same situation when Brady was out. Matter of fact, remember the years that we went to the Super Bowl? Those were years that Tom Brady, I recall an injury at one point and something else the other year. But again, guys, Buffalo plays tonight. Let's just say they lose, which they probably won't. But here we are, 5 teams right now after 3 weeks, 5 teams that are still undefeated. Pittsburgh, one team that nobody expected to be here. Again, we haven't achieved anything. We certainly haven't. We're doing better than we were expected to do. That's what we achieved. I
And you
don't
know
think
what?
that you could start throwing us at the top of the league.
No,
I just don't. I think there's certainly better teams. I think that there's better teams with us with a record that's not as good as ours. But again, at 3-0 after 3 games, you're
hmm
really record wise, you can't ask for a better
no,
situation.
no,
Things that we're going through, I think you can. And we'll talk about some of these things about the team that we could certainly hope that it improves over time because I just don't know how long something like this could last. Mike, you were saying yesterday, who's our guard that's out?
Sam Olive.
Yamalu.
Yeah,
Now you were saying yesterday he's probably going to be back next week.
it's looking like it. It wouldn't surprise me if he's because I think that would be the earliest he would be back is because it was like a 4 to 6 week injury, and this would be the fourth week that he would be out. So I think he might if he's able to practice the full week to practice it. I think he starts because we need him. We've been surviving. That line played great down the stretch yesterday, but Sayamalu in there, it's going to make him so much more dominant in the first half. We had a lot of trouble in there in the first half. You get Sayamalu in there. I think this rushing attack looks a whole hell of a lot better. But I think me personally, I'm thinking he will be back because he started some light practice last week, and I can see if he gets a full week in this week, he would be back. That's
One way
just
that
me
I can feel that
guessing.
we're certainly improving personnel wise is if Isaac Siamalu comes back, and perhaps maybe if Roman Wilson is able to play next week.
Yeah,
Those would be
I
two.
think he definitely will play.
Now, it's not that I'm concerned right now because yesterday I think the wide receivers had a pretty damn good game.
Yeah,
But it's still, you're going to want to improve in these areas. Again, we're still not ready to play in a Super Bowl. I can tell you that.
yeah.
But things are better than people expected, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and Roman Wilson would have played, but they made like a tactical decision. Like, there's not going to be a lot of passing in this game. We're going to be running the ball. We wanted some extra beef on the defensive side, and I think like on the offensive line side. So he was just an odd man out for like some roster construction. He was healthy enough to play, so I'm definitely looking forward to him being in the lineup next week.
So with that being said, we played a Raven type team in a way.
Mhm.
They were tough. They were physical. They hit us hard. And there's no two ways about it. That defense was hitting hard. But at the end of the day, they weren't able to outsteal the Steelers, and we were able to get the win. We lost some guys along the way. There was some injuries. I don't know how serious they are. Maybe Mike could help me here, but Corey Trice went down during a period of sometime during the game. Also, Alex Highsmith, which I think played to our advantage, to be honest with you.
I
He
think
goes
so
down at
too.
some point during the game. Any other injuries I'm missing, Mike, from the game?
Like Van Jefferson went out with that eye injury, but he came back in. I haven't heard any updates. We probably won't get any until Tomlin's press conference or sometime today. Information will start leaking out about the injuries for Trice and Highsmith. Van Jefferson, I assume he'll be back since he did come back into the game.
Yeah, he better. He got poked in the eye. He should be all right. But the other receivers, they certainly stepped it up yesterday. Tight end stepped it up yesterday. Mike, I'm going to start talking about this Steeler team
Yeah.
with on the defensive side of the ball. We're
Ooh.
going to start on the defense because this is Pittsburgh. It's what we do. Cam Hayward, guys, I want to start by saying this. Cam Hayward had one of his 3 good games of the year. So
Yeah.
for people that's coming on to the show today, say, guys, what about Cam Hayward? Cam Hayward did really well, which I'm going
It's
to
what
tell
he's
you.
paid to do.
But again, I'm going to tell you in a little bit why he didn't do really well. He played a good game, and you know what? That's what you're supposed to do. But Cam Hayward got one of his 3 good games, and we talk about this all
Yeah.
the time. He has 3 games during the season where it's like this, where you see him a few times, his name's called for positive plays, and that's what went on there. But while he did that, Mike, he was able to fall on a sack, and he's able to pass James Harrison. So Cam Hayward, who isn't considered to be on this show one of the greats, he passed one of the greats in the sack column with 81 and a half sacks over Harrison's 80 and a half sacks. Mike, so now no matter what the opinion is of this guy, he's going to go on as one of the best Steeler defenders of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all well and good, but James Harrison showed up in crunch time in key situations in the playoffs. Clam does not. But Clam did have a very good
To
performance
be
last
honest,
week.
these guys had a lot more opportunity in the playoffs because
Yeah, but
they had a nice team around them. They had Ben
well,
Roethlisberger, a Hall of
yeah,
Famer,
and Clam was on some of those teams too that
and a
failed in
lot
the
where he
play.
wasn't though.
Yeah. But I'm saying he doesn't show up in crunch time, but he did have a good game this week. People want to say last week he had this amazing game. He had 6 pressures. I went back and I watched the game multiple times. I watched the coaches film multiple times. I don't know where they got that he had 6 pressures. So people, I don't agree. Last week was a good game for him. This week was a very good game for him. I thought he played really well. But that entire front three played well. And what's helping Cam is people aren't double teaming him anymore. This is why he's able to have these great
Because you
games
don't
at
need
35
to.
years old. Benton's getting double teamed. Ogunjobi's getting double teamed. They're sliding big time over to, double team TJ Watt. So that helped him and Herbig out a lot where they had just had single one-on-one blocking. But you know what? He made the plays when he needed to make the plays. So, well done. But this is what you get paid to do. You're supposed to be you should be having great games every single game you're out there. And if you don't, you're going to catch the heat as you should, as all the greats do. But yeah, it
Well,
was a
he
good
went
game.
on. He went on and on about him and Aaron Donald being the top two guys. Now him
Yeah.
and somebody else.
Him and Chris
And then he
Jones, the
goes
top
on and he,
guys.
I deserve this money. I'm one of the best in the league. The money, the money, the money, the money, the money, the money, and he got his money. So he got everything he wanted. Now, in return, what he has to do is he has to come out and play really good football at the
Mm-hmm.
ripe age of 30, whatever he is. Uh, Mike, here is his line yesterday after the great game, according to the media. Cam Hayward had 3 tackles and a sack. Does that sound like a great game to you? To me,
On the stat
listen,
line, no.
listen, a great game to me is where you overachieve on the stat line. When you look at the stat line, you're like, oh my God, that was a dominant game. So I by looking at numbers, I don't think that it was a great game. By looking at the game, I don't think that it was a great game. I think he had a solid game for defensive tackle, but to call that a great game,
I wouldn't call it great. I call it good. He had a really good game where he was very physical on the line, pushing people back. He, yeah, stat line it wasn't great, but he had a good game, not a great game. It was a good game. It's
that's
what
all I'm
he
saying.
should. It's what he should. This is what you're being paid X amount of dollars, and you should produce, and that's what he should produce. This should be a baseline for him. No, you're not going to
This
get a
should be
sack every
that
game.
right. This
You're not
game
getting a
here,
sack
the
every game,
stats
but
in this game, Mike, would be the baseline. I would
yeah, that should
expect
be his baseline
three
for where you're
tackles and
getting
a
paid.
sack. You should expect from this guy
That should be the
any given week.
expectations. Yeah, that should be the expectations. What we see out of him. This is what we should get every game. You're not going to get a sack every game. I understand that, but the pressure, the way he was helping control the
But that's
line,
right.
yeah, this should be the baseline. Anything more, hell yeah. Anything less, you're going to get criticized. This should be okay.
I'm going to let you in on a secret. It's not going to happen next week because he never does back-to-back weeks. But again, he has about 3 games
Mm-hmm.
during the season where it's like this, where you're
Yeah.
really talking Cam Hayward after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And take any great player and look at their great games. Let me just for an example think of top of my head, Troy Polamalu. What's
Mm-hmm.
one of his great games look like? He's diving 30 yards and intercepting on a ball that's 1 inch off the ground, and he's jumping over people and making big plays.
Yeah.
Did Cam Hayward make big plays? I don't think he makes
Yeah.
big plays. He was solid.
It was solid. Yeah. And like John on board said, he took a lot of double teams. I didn't see a lot of double teams. I have to go back. I don't have the coach's feed yet. So when I go back and watch it, I'll keep track of that. But I saw, a guy bump him, if you want to call that a double team as he's moving to someone else. I don't consider that. I don't see 2 guys keying up to block him anymore like he did in his prime. So if he's going up against one-on-one coverage and a guy scraping over as they're moving to their assignment, he should be able to beat that even at his advanced age.
Mike, and
He's
this
getting paid to
defense is
do this.
historically good. So again, as Pittsburghers, we could think of when Jack Lambert had a great day, what that looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Think of what
Like it would
Troy
hell,
Polamalu looked like when he had a great
Aaron.
day.
I'll
Think
compare
of
it to defensive ends. What Aaron Smith had. What some of the other 3-4 DNs of this team would.
and again, these weren't great people. Like these weren't these weren't great Steelers. These weren't guys that had 81 and a half sacks. From a guy that's supposed to be a great Steeler who has he passed James Harrison in the sacks list. I expect to see great play. And I wouldn't call what I seen
Yeah,
yesterday great play. It was a solid game that you would expect to see from Cam Hayward.
yeah,
Again, it's not going to happen many more times. Watch, mark my word, you're going to
yeah,
see this about 2, 3 more times, maybe this season, sporadically.
yeah.
But that what you seen yesterday wasn't typical Cam Hayward on Sunday afternoon,
No, no, no. I just feel
especially
like
at 35 years old. Mike,
yeah, no, I just feel like the double teams are shifting towards Ogunjobi and TJ Watt. But I'll go back and rewatch it. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But on the second watch through, it felt like everything was the lines for San Diego are sliding over
I
to
do
the
want to say
opposite
though, good
direction.
morning, John.
Yeah,
Great to hear from
yeah,
you, man. I hope
yeah.
I was thinking about John last night
Oh
when he
God.
was
Oh,
about
whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey now. Hey,
he was talking about Terry Bongshaw. I thought that was hilarious. I think he
hey.
might have told us that before, maybe last year,
I think he's busted out Terry Bongshaw before.
but I
And
thought
I
about
think
that
every
last
time
night.
he busts out Terry
That's
Bongshaw and
great.
he
I think
mentions
that
it
that
on the
was
show,
I
we
like how
win.
I like how he named it it's Steeler theme. That's great. I love it. All right. So we're being negative about the defense, but there's not much to be negative about. I wanted to get that out of my system because again, I don't think that Cam Hayward had a great day, but well, let's move on. A lot of good things did come out of yesterday's game. So let's talk about them as well. The defense guys, right now, our defense, yards given up per game, we give up 229.7 yards per game, which is first in the NFL. Our passing defense, total passing yards given up per game is 158.3, which is
Oh,
seventh in the NFL. Rushing yards per game, 71.3, which is first in the NFL. And finally, the obvious one, the points per game, given up 8.7, and that is first in the
wow.
NFL. We were second only behind the Chargers. We went in, we do what we do. They did what they did. We came in at the end of the day, and we do, in fact, I would say have the best defense in the league as of right now.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Patty McCombs or we haven't seen any of these other guys yet, and we will eventually. But as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are undefeated. They're one of the five,
Yeah.
and they have the best defense.
And the only thing that matters is we are taking care of business. Handling business the way it needs to be handled against these teams. And
Stacking our wins.
yeah, and you watched Atlanta. They moved the ball last night. They moved the ball the week before. So it begs the question: What were they that bad in the first game,
They
or
were
was our
really bad in
defense
the
that
first
good for?
game. Did you
I want
watch
to get
it?
this. Yeah, I watched it, but I watched that defense step up and make
Yeah.
them look pedestrian. So it's like, were they that bad? Were we this good? But you know what? I'm liking the way the defense is playing, especially the new additions on defense, especially Dante Jackson and Deshaun Elliott. Oh my God, those guys were born to be Pittsburgh Steelers. They were born to be Pittsburgh Steelers defensive backs. Dante Jackson's just killing people out there. He's laying the lumber. I love it. Patrick Clean was flying around all over the place. You'd love to see him make that interception, but I'm willing to let my linebacker just let that one slip through his hand. But this defense, man, look out! They could be on a generational run. This could be talked about by like one of the 2018, 2010 team, one of those types of
Well, I certainly want to
defenses.
get beyond 3 games before I make that
I
call. A
know,
lot
but
can happen. It's certainly in a.
let me be happy. I'm never happy
You
about the
can be happy all
Steelers.
you want. I'm just saying, what happens if we face some more injuries because that's certainly not out of the question. You seen the way that the Chargers were dropping like flies yesterday, and it was key
Oh well, that's
players.
because we just beat their ass.
Of course, Alt and Herbert
Oh,
and everyone.
Rashawn
So you know what I'm
Slater,
saying?
Herbert,
There's
yeah,
going to be a game. We're
yeah.
not
There's
going
gonna be
to,
a game, yeah.
because Mike, from day one this preseason, injuries have been an
Oh,
issue.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, extrapolating on the data that I've seen of them play,
In three
they
games.
could be on a run. They
We
could
have
be on a
14
run.
more to go. Uh,
Hey,
we'll have this
numbers don't
conversation.
lie.
We'll have this.
Numbers don't
They
lie.
don't lie. And the three
They don't lie.
games tells me that's a very minimal amount of games. But we'll find out more come January, guys. Also, I do want to talk about on this defense somebody that I think should be starting on this defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that Alex Highsmith went out, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I think the fact that he goes out is a bit of a blessing. It gives us a chance to get Nick Herbig on the other side of the line from TJ Watt. This guy comes in, he has 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, and a forced fumble. This is a good day. That's a good day. If I'm talking about a good day, this is a starter or not a starter. He comes in and makes those numbers. Another guy who's a generational tackle who's considered one of the greats has 2 tackles and a sack or 3 tackles. That's not a great day. This guy, guys, come on, let's be honest with ourselves. Nick Herbig, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, and 1 forced fumble in a shorter amount of time because he's not a starter.
Yeah,
This
he played a
guy,
whale of a game.
he has a mode. Mike, this guy plays a well of a game every game. If there's a
Hmm.
game that he plays that you don't see something amazing happen, it's unbelievable because this kid is that good.
Yeah, I just want to see how he's going to fare in the run game in the pass game overall. That's where I think Highsmith's better at stuff in the run and the pass right now. But if Herbig, you let him play, let him develop those skills, I think he will surpass what we're seeing from Alex Highsmith. The way he plays and rushes the quarterback and produces, that's what you need opposite TJ Watt. 2, 3 guys are going over to TJ Watt. That opposite edge rusher should be dominating games like this. And that's what we saw from him. We saw Highsmith miss a sack earlier in the game. That could have been huge. So yeah, this is what you want out of that opposite edge
Again, I
rusher.
want to see
He's
more
playing
on somebody like
perfect.
Highsmith who's getting paid big money miss
Yeah,
a
to make
sack.
produce. Yeah.
You know,
You gotta produce,
and
where
this dude comes in and produces every chance that he gets. But you know what? It's not going to make a difference because we've already given the guy his money, and we're not going to make a guy who's getting paid mad loot stand on a sideline while a guy who's only been in the league 2 years still on a rookie contract. It's a shame because again, you're getting more production out of one guy. As Mike said, you'd like to see a little bit more from the running game from him. There's no reason for me to believe that he wouldn't do well. I mean, there's nothing that
yeah.
I've seen on the field that would make me think that. But you got to say, Mike, this performance by Nick Herbig was one of the better performances of the game.
Hmm.
I'm gonna give my top three players the game balls here pretty soon, and I can tell you he's certainly in there. This dude, again, if did he impress you when you're watching? Did you feel like wow, he came in and really made a difference? And then you want to compare, as I always say, Cam. Did he really make a difference? Did he make a difference on the day? He had a sack. I give him that. But again, he does have 3 of these games a year, which we always say. Um, let's move on a little bit more. Also, Mike Joe Alt, the rookie, the star rookie right tackle who blocks TJ Watt. He gave up his first sack of the season, so that's kind of a big deal. He hasn't given
Yeah.
up a sack yet.
Yeah. TJ Watt ate his lunch. He had a good first series 2 against TJ, and then TJ just took over.
Yeah.
And
You
then
know what? I think in the big picture, I didn't expect the rookie to shut him down all day. I
yeah.
just didn't.
Oh no, yeah. Like he did well against the guys he was going up against the first week and went against some pretty good players, but they're not TJ Watt.
And they played the Carolina Panthers too, so I mean that's another thing to consider in week 2. Who you but again, I don't really care much
I know
about the
Carolina looked great this
I don't
week.
care much about the yeah, they didn't look great. Who did they beat? The Raiders.
They put up like 36 points or something.
But yeah,
Something
but
insane.
they did have the Red Rocket as well, so they are making it. They're
They got the Red
adjusting over
Rocket,
there,
baby.
and maybe things will turn around. I highly doubt it, but we will see. Also, Mike, the defense had 4 sacks total in the first 2 weeks of the season against the Atlanta Falcons, and then against whoever it was we played last week, Denver.
Who did we play last week? Denver. Yeah,
Denver.
Denver looked good this week too.
So they played they got 4 sacks in the first 2 weeks. They had 5 yesterday.
Yeah.
Steelers did. They got 5 sacks.
And this was supposed to be the best offensive line we've faced all season. And
Give it time.
dominated in the second
half. We did. And there's no two ways about it. This game, they look good. The Steelers look good. I don't want anybody to get the impression that I don't think the Steelers played well. But they did
You're
play
putting
well.
off that vibe. You're putting off that vibe.
I'm only being honest, my friend. I do also want to say good morning to Jen on the board. I could give off many vibes, but the vibe I'm giving you is the truth. You want the truth, or do you want? You don't?
I can't handle the truth right now. I want to live in the fantasy world where we're going 17-0 because I haven't been this confident about a team in a long time.
All right, good. I hope it works out.
Normally, I am the hater. I don't like this.
I'm not hating. I'm being honest.
I don't like it. Usually, you're all amped up and ready to go.
They did refer. I think it was Tony Romo referred to TJ Watt as the modern day Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, I heard that. I minus a couple off-field issues. I'm okay with that.
He's one of the best. There's no 2 ways about it.
Yeah, he was a beast, man.
Like he has 99 and a half sacks after 107 games when his brother, the great JJ Watt, had 94 sacks after 107 games. So I think he might be a keeper.
I think so. I think he's proven himself. We might be able to give him another contract.
Yeah, we'll give him another shot at this.
Yeah, we'll give him another shot.
Let's jump over to offense, Mike. Again, I did mention earlier Justin Fields is one of the 4 quarterbacks in Pittsburgh history to start 3-0, and the other 3 did at some point lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl. I think that's big. I think that's big for Justin Fields.
That
You know
is,
what I'm saying? There's
yeah,
things that needed to happen for him to
yeah.
gain his confidence, for people to
Hmm.
gain confidence in him, and for the fans to accept him. And I think all 3 of those things are starting to fall into place, rightfully so.
Yeah.
The guy's coming out, and John said Romo called Frazier an all-pro. We'll get over to
He's
Frazier in a little bit, but you want me to jump to Frazier real quick?
no, no, I just want to say that Justin Field, this is his first 3-game winning streak in the pros.
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah.
yeah. And he's won what, like 7 out of his last 9, 7 out of the last 10 games. So
He didn't win
he's,
many in Chicago.
but the tail end there, he was starting to figure it out, but I'm glad they gave up on him. Thank
Um, Frazier, here was his block. Here was his grades for the game yesterday. He had a 95.5 pass block grade and a 97.3 run block grade.
you. We got one, guys. We got we got a guy to continue the legacy of Webster, Dawson, Pouncey.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
And during the game yesterday, I think there was a high shotgun snap, and you were ready to hang
Oh,
him.
I was ready to kill him.
But I
Ready
was
to
like,
kill him.
it's all right, man. It's gonna be all right. He had amazing
That's
blocking
yeah, oh
numbers.
yeah.
So we will take that.
Yeah, he played a hell of a game. He's taking control of that offensive line like we haven't seen the center take over since Pouncey left.
And
And
I
it's
like the
nice to
fact
see.
that the line, they look at him as the leader of the offensive
Yeah,
line, and that's what you
yeah.
need.
That's what you want your center to be. And he's great at communicating. Oh yeah, like Jennifer saying, like Chicago Fields just be feeling good, realizing he wasn't the problem in Chicago because oh,
Chicago is obvious the problem,
like
obviously.
there's they ran a speed option at the end of the game. All 5 of their offensive linemen are laying on the ground. The quarterback and the running back are like, "What the hell do you want us to do?"
Listen,
This
something you
they
could
will
go
ruin
by
anyone's career.
when you want to think about an organization or a franchise. Go back 59 years from to 1967 when they played Super Bowl one to
Yeah,
now, and just look at how many Super Bowls the team has been to. The Bears played in 2, they won 1. This is just not a
yeah,
good franchise. It was no surprise to me that it wasn't
yeah.
successful when Justin Fields was there. It's no surprise to me that it's still not successful. They might are like the Browns, they could get the
Yeah.
top player every year,
Uh-huh.
but you still can't build a
Yeah.
good enough team to win football games.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
bad organization.
I just want to know what team Caleb Wilson's going to go to in 4 years and have a career resurgence.
Yeah.
This team is just killing
Probably be
everyone.
us. It's probably gonna be
And we'll
us.
just cycle through all their quarterbacks.
We'll
We
take all their
failed on
number one picks.
we failed with Trubisky. Looking like we're having a little bit of success with Fields. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll bring
Mike,
Caleb
let's
along.
just this is what it's
That way we
become.
don't have to
We
to
let them
waste.
draft them.
Yeah, I was about
We
to
let
say
them we let
we
them
don't have to waste the picks.
we let them get seasoned in the
Yeah,
NFL. We let
yeah,
them fail a little bit, and
yeah,
we bring them here to be
yeah.
successful.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Save those first round draft picks. This is like smart play by the front office by the Steelers. And yeah, Jennifer, the Frazier and that whole line was just playing bully football. They were just him him being the leader of that team of that O line and everyone else following suit. They were just piling people over. And then when McCormick was coming in on his handful of snaps here and there, he was just running around like a wild man, steamrolling people. It
And
was fun to watch.
this is what they told us they were going to do, and it was what
Yeah,
you were waiting to see if it was actually going to happen. Were they going to come and be
and
bullies? Were they going to come and to go out there against a defense that was pretty good? You know what I mean? As far as I know, this team has a pretty good defense. They played a couple bad teams as we did to start out the season, but again, we're learning more. It seems impressive what we were able to do against a defense that, again, after 2 games, they were only averaging a little over 6 points, being led up by the defense. So we did. We went in, we imposed our will. I thought that Justin Fields looked pretty good. We'll go over numbers here in just a second, Mike. But my game ball goes to either one of these 3 guys.
yeah,
Nick Herbig, who again, as I mentioned, had what? He had a bunch. He had a couple
like 3
tackles,
tackles, 2 sacks,
3 tackles, 2
fumble.
sacks, 2 tackle for loss, and 1 forced fumble. I got 2 other guys. I'm trying to
Okay.
debate on who it should be.
Oh,
So Nick Herbig,
yeah,
Justin Fields, who goes 25 for 32 for
yeah.
245, a touchdown and a pick. And my third guy, how can this guy not be in your top 3? Calvin Austin the third. Calvin Austin
Yeah.
the third. he has 4 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown, the game breaker.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a game ball to give it to Mike of these three, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give the game ball to all three of these guys
Yeah.
because I think all three of them deserve it.
Yeah. I'm gonna hand out some game balls here. You know me, I like to hand out the balls. So I'm gonna go with Justin Fields. I thought this was one of the best games he's played in his career. Like I think even Tony Romo said like this was his best game in the
Even
NFL.
Tony Romo.
Even Tony Romo. So hey, when the next pro agrees with me, I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And go with him. I know we kind of dogged on him in the first half, but I thought Cam played well, and I'm gonna give him a little participation trophy, to make him and all of his fans happy. And
He's getting the petty. He's getting the petty
he's getting
game
the
ball.
petty game ball. He's
Okay.
getting the petty game ball for me. And this is gonna go so unsung, but I thought James Pierre on special teams when Waitman was booming those punts, how many fair catches were forced this
Yeah.
week? There had very little returns, and who was down there? James
Big
Pierre.
addition. We
Yeah,
signed him
so
back
James,
this
yeah,
week.
unsung, not hero, but just doing yeoman's work out there that not a lot of people will know. I didn't know until it was pointed out on Twitter. I went back once the game. I watched special teams. James Pierre gets a game ball.
All right. So my game balls go to Calvin Austin the third, Justin Fields, Nick Herbig. Mike just went through a big explanation. Who was your game ball? I don't
James
think
Pierre.
anybody picked up who your game ball was. I know that they.
I said I gave three. I had James Pierre,
Okay.
Clam, and Justin Fields.
You gave Clam a cam.
I gave him a game ball.
He
It
got
was
the
a petty game
ball
ball. He
though.
got a petty
Okay.
game ball. It's still a game ball.
All right.
He played how he should play.
Some numbers from the game. Of course, we did say Justin Fields went 25 for 32 for 245 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Najee Harris goes 18 carries for 70 yards. Cordell Patterson goes for 4 carries, 33 yards. Fields also goes 6 carries, 6 yards, 1 touchdown. Through the air, Calvin Austin III had 4 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown. George Pickens, 5 catches for 57 yards, and Pat Fryermuth, 4 catches for 33 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, Queenie led the way with 8 tackles. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Landon Roberts, they all had a sack. Nick Herbig had 2 sacks. Some of the game numbers, Mike, for the game, we outgained them overall with 346 yards. They had 168 total yards.
Ooh.
We had 232 passing yards. They had 107 passing yards. We had 114 running yards. They had 61. Mike, how many yards did we hold them to in the second half? Like 50?
Negative 5 yards in the
Negative
second
5 yards in the second half
half.
is
Five yards in the
is
second
what they got.
Yeah.
I mean, you could credit a little bit of that to us taking out their main quarterback because once Henneke came in there, I had no confidence that team was going to beat us. I didn't.
Yeah, they lost with like 42 yards on sacks alone.
Also, Mike, the what else? First downs, we had 20, they had 10. Third down, we went 50%, 7 for 14. They went 3 for 11. We sacked them 5 times. They sacked us twice. Our penalties way down.
Oh yeah,
we only had 3 penalties after 19 in the first 2 games.
Yep.
3 penalties for 15 yards. You got to like that. They had 7 for 69 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Turnovers, we had the only turnover on that queer interception that bounced around. But I did say that we would have our first turnover yesterday.
Yeah.
And then also time of possession, Mike, was 33-51 in our favor. They had 26-09.
Yeah.
Any way you slice it, we won this game. We won it pretty handily, albeit it was only 20-10. Mike, but another pretty cool piece of news here is Chris Boswell, after going 2 for 3, he missed a 62-yarder.
Trade him, bum.
Which was the longest for like the longest period of time in the NFL. It's crazy that guys are even making that nowadays. But Mike, he goes over 1,000 points yesterday.
No way. Awesome.
Yes.
Well done, Bozzy.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and that week of bringing in the officials this week for the extra time paid off. Smart move.
It certainly seems so.
Yeah.
And again, you're playing against a better team and you're penalized less. That's a good sign.
Oh yeah,
because you usually maybe be out there holding Bosa, who you didn't obviously see, or maybe Derwin James, or anybody. You could be out there holding these guys because they're so good. the fact that we brought that number down, I think, is huge. It's huge moving
Hmm.
forward. We have the Colts next week, who finally did get their first win yesterday. We'll talk more about them throughout the week. Let's talk about the good stuff, though. We did win. I do want to get to the board real quick. Derpy is on the board. He's entertaining, so I'm going to let him do what he's doing. Just making sure I'm not missing nothing in that conversation.
Derby got neutered and is resting.
But Mike, it is time. I got to say, I can't believe it's already this far into the show. We do have to get to our grades for the day for the game
Yeah.
yesterday. Let's start with the quarterback, Mike. Of course, we use a school grading system, A, B, C, D, say A, B, C, D, F. Mike, quarterbacks, Steeler quarterbacks. What do you grade quarterbacks yesterday?
A minus. Yeah, I thought he played a really good game. He had that turnover. Probably should have thrown the ball. It's one of those like where you throw it, it's either caught or incomplete. He's bounced up in the air. Those things happen. I thought he made some really good decisions out there. I thought he played best game I've seen him play as a Steeler. So I'm gonna give him an A minus.
Running backs, Mike. Najee, as we said, he seemed like he ran for about 300 yards, and when you looked, he had
Yeah,
20.
yeah,
That's how hard it was. He ran,
yeah.
but that's how good this defense was, especially early on. Mike, running backs, Patterson, Najee Harris,
Oh
Jalen
no,
Warren. What do
yeah,
you give them
Patterson has
guys?
some key runs definitely second half. So did Najee. They took over in the second half. It helped from the O line. I'm going to give them an A as well. The stats might not be there, but when they had to kill the clock, they killed the clock, man. They ground that game out.
Tight ends, Pat Fryermuth, George.
Mm.
I'm sorry, Mount
Mount
Washington.
Washington.
Also, Little Hayward. The tight ends, how'd they do?
Outside of the one drop from Patty Fry, that should have been a nice completion. I'm going to give them an A as well. I thought, outside of that one drop, he was great in the passing game. Mount Washington's just a dominant blocker. He played a hell of a game. So yeah, giving them an A as well.
How about the offensive line?
Couple miscues in the first half, but they settled down and they dominated that second half. I'm going to give them an A as well.
A lot of nice adjustments after halftime, I noticed, on
Yeah,
both offense and
yeah.
defense. I
Oh
like what I
yeah.
saw there. Mike, let's hop over on the defensive side of the ball. What about this defensive line? Obviously, you're singing the praises of Cam Hayward this morning. I can't wait to see what you grade this defensive line.
I'm going to give them an A as well. They totally dominate. They've been averaging almost 200 yards rushing a game. We
You're
kept them
like a
at like what
shop teacher. All you're
67.
giving is A's. This is insane.
I'm going to give it A. Well, you played this
All
well.
right, all right. Linebackers, Mike. How did the linebackers grade?
I'm going to give them an A plus. They're in there getting sacks. They were flying around all over the place. Peyton Wilson had a nice, sneaky, quiet, good game.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
DBs, DBs.
We had that breakdown of communication between Minka and PG Jr. That's going to drop them down to an A minus, but they have great in coverage. Outside of that, plays here and there that happened. They were sticking people. They were playing Steeler ball. They get an A minus.
As you mentioned, Pierre a moment ago, what do you give the special teams play? Chris Boswell, the coverage team, the
Mm-hmm.
punting, return. What do we
They're
give
going
them
to get
guys?
an A plus. And it's because the coverage, not just on punts, but on those kickoffs that Boswell would kick short. We were flying down there, kept them under the 21 ton. We kept them inside, I think, like 10 or the 15. A great play all around.
Mike, what do you give the coaching?
I'm going to go with an A. Like you
Game
just said,
plan and
yeah. Yeah, we came in with a game plan. Like I think we were talking in studio and watching the game. It's like it felt like a chess match.
yeah.
Yeah, each three of the first three drives for both teams were identical. And then we made the adjustments in the second half. They did not. So A. Oh yes, Jennifer, that Peasy flying in that gap.
Oh,
He does not make that play last year.
that's what Mike and I were saying during the game. I said he does not make that play. The way he came in, wrapped them legs, he was torpedoing last year with the shoulder. But it looked very nice. When I seen from Peasy yesterday. Also, Mike, finally, the overall, I have to give everybody A's. I can't imagine that it would be anything other than an A. But I do feel like you're a shop teacher and you're probably going to whip
I
an eraser at my head here in just a moment, like they do in shop. But
I'm giving
overall, A.
I'm going with an A. I thought, it was a good game from start to finish, man. This was a classic Steeler style game, but it happened to be against the Chargers, and they could not match the physicality of this team. We just wore them down in the second half.
And I'm glad like some of the small things too. Like, we lost our first turnover. So that's behind us now.
Mm-hmm.
The Fields is not he doesn't have that pressure on him where, here we are being almost a quarter way through the season, not having any
Yeah.
turnovers. I'm glad that pressure's
Yeah.
gone. Who cares about stuff like this? We
Yeah.
had a turnover. We won the
Yeah.
game. It's behind us.
Yeah, and the players said like he responded well to it. He didn't get down like he probably would have in
Right.
Chicago. Like the defense, is like, all right, we got you, and the offense, like, all right, and we're gonna move on. It happens, and it was the way that everyone responded to anything bad happened in the game. Like Roger Jones had that terrible first couple series. That next thing you know, he's dominating Bosa, forces him out of the
I
game.
was pleasantly surprised with him. I got to
Me
be honest. I
too.
didn't
Me
know what to
too.
expect from him, but you know what? They all look good. Mike, we got to move on though. Let's hop over to the college ranks. There was a lot of good football games that were played on Saturday this week. I'm going to start with a couple of some of the panels team first. Mike, your Penn State, the number 8 Nittany Lions, who they
Hmm.
go to 3-0 by beating Kent State 56-0. The
Yeah.
Ohio State Buckeyes, they go to 3-0. They beat Marshall 49-14. West Virginia, they improved to 2-2 by squeaking out a close game over Kansas 32-28, where they were down. They came back. West Virginia plays number 20 Oklahoma State next. Penn State,
Cool.
Mike, they play number 19 Illinois, and
Hmm.
Ohio State plays Michigan State. The Pitt Panthers, they beat YSU 73-17. Eli Holstein, the freshman sensation, goes 16 for 24 for 274, 3 touchdowns. And after 4 games, I just want to give you these numbers because it's kind of fascinating. This freshman, Mike, he is 19 years old. I looked into it. He's 19, which means he was sitting in a high school classroom just a few months ago. So he comes out in 4 games in college football. He goes 18 for 129, 1,186 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 189 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 194 points scored by this Pitt team while they were going 4-0. I'm super impressed. I'm thinking he's probably going to get some of his weekly awards again. I think he's got the ACC Rookie of the
Yeah.
Year the first 3 weeks of the season, quarterback last week, whatever. Mike, so looking really good. Pitt, I feel good with what's going on with them. They have a week off, and then after the week off, they play North Carolina, who just lost 70-50 to James Madison. And here's a couple things about this real quick before I move on. That they played so bad, their coach, he offered to quit. He went to the AD or whatever, and he said, "You know what? We gave up 70 points to James Madison. If you want, I will walk out right now. I'll step down."
Yeah.
And they told him no, and blah blah blah. Things are going to get better, but James Madison 70-50. And one other thing about that, Mike, North Carolina paid out $500,000 to guaranteed to play that game against them. So talking about taking a loss.
Oh yeah, that's a big old L on and on. Because at one point, weren't they? They were up like 21-0 at one point. I thought
Were
North
they?
Carolina. Yeah, and then James Madison just stormed back and just they put an ass whooping on them. I was watching on and off that game, and we just kept getting uglier and uglier for North Carolina.
The Pitt women volleyball team still doing amazing. Mike, they were
Dominant.
on 27 straight sets that they won. They are number 1 in the country. I like watching the women's volleyball when it's Pitt. They're very, 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 very good.
They're damn good. The best. They might be the best team in Pittsburgh right now.
Hey, we got a lot of teams that ain't got no losses right now, so I guess
Yeah.
we should be happy. Again, 7 wins, no losses on teams that play their home game on the North Shore. You got to like that between the Steelers and the Pitt Panthers. Also, Mike, over the weekend, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they played their first exhibition game, playing the Buffalo Sabres, losing 7-3. They get another chance at them tomorrow when the Sabres come to town at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds were off, but next week they play the Birmingham Legion, 7 o'clock on Saturday. They're down to 3 home games left if you want to get down and check out the Hounds. Also, before I get into the Pirates, Mike, the Indiana Fever, of course, Caitlin Clark, we keep up with her. They lose game 1 in the playoffs yesterday, 93-69. Caitlin Clark has only 11 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds on the day. They're down 1-0 in the series to the Sun. Game 2 is Wednesday at 7:30. And finally, Paul Skeens Day. Yesterday, I told Mike during the game, I said, watch Paul Skeens throw a no-hitter today because they will be playing at the same exact time the Steelers will, and nobody will
Mm-hmm.
be there to see it. But that wasn't the case. He ended out having a really good day through 5 innings, gave up 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Mike, he has an ERA of 1.99 as we
That
speak.
is, if he's not rookie of the year, there's something wrong.
A couple guys came in to finish the game up for him. Chapman gets the save. De La Cruz has 2 hits. Cruz, Bart, Kutch, York, Cook, they all have a hit. Next game is game 1 of 3 against the Brewers at home, our last homestand. There's only 6 games left on the season. Brewers tomorrow, Tuesday night, they play 6:40. It's going to be Bailey Falter against Tobias Myers. Pirates are now 73 and 83, last place in the division, 16 games out and 14 games out of the wild card. Something that's somewhat encouraging is we're going to see Paul Skeens one more time in the last series over the weekend, next weekend, as we go to the Bronx to play the Yankees. Paul Skeens will be pitching in the Big Apple, so that's going to be a fun one. You might want to catch that as well. A couple notes here, Mike Cruz. He has a 2020 season, of course. The dude out in LA, he has a 50-50. Cruz has a 2020, somewhat of an accomplishment, so good for him. And also, Andrew McCutchen passed Yogi Berra is the 209th best hitter in history of baseball. He has more hits than 200. Only 208 people have
Yeah,
more hits than him that
yeah.
ever played in Major League Baseball by passing Yogi Berra over the weekend. So good for him.
Well done, coach.
Absolutely. And the Pirates did lose that series over the weekend to the Reds. I just wanted to throw that out there. And what time? What's the time check?
But 10 minutes.
All right, Mike. Why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
The2dumbinjures.com. Head on over there, everyone. Check it out, especially if you're new here. All of our links for all of our different social media is listed there. Merch stores there, and the blog is on hiatus. But once it's back up and running, it was going to be a barn burner. So check it out at the2dumbinjures.com.
All right, so today is going to be a Colts trivia question because that's who we play next. This coming Sunday, we travel to Indianapolis to play our third away game in 4 games. The Colts did win yesterday. They were 1-2. This is going to be Indianapolis Colts or Baltimore Colts questions all week. Here we go, Mike. Put on your thinking cap, guys on the board. Feel free to play along. Here we go. Which Colts running back is the only NFL player to amass 12,000 yards rushing and 6,000 yards receiving? Kind of be a difficult question, but I'm going to give you choices right after this. Guys, we're live. We're live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We hope you continue to check us out, support the show. We appreciate everyone. Question of the day is this. It's a Colt trivia question, guys. Which Colts running back is the only NFL player to amass 12,000 yards rushing and 6,000 yards receiving? Here are your choices. Was it A, Eric Dickerson? Was it B, Joseph Adai? Was it C, Edgerrin James? Or was it D, Marshall Faulk? Take a moment to think that over. One more time. Which Colts running back is the only NFL player to amass 12,000 yards rushing and 6,000 yards receiving? Eric Dickerson, Joseph Adai, Edgerrin James, Marshall Faulk. P on the board says Edgerrin James. Mike, do you have any guesses or do you know?
Go with Marshall.
Marshall Faulk. Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right, Marshall Faulk. P says James. And one more time, the question is, which Colts running back is the only NFL player to amass 12,000 yards rushing and 6,000 yards receiving in the NFL? P says James. Mike says Faulk. The answer is, in fact, Marshall Faulk, guys. Marshall Faulk did that. He had a pretty amazing career when you think about it.
Oh, he did. He had a great career there, and then at the tail end in St. Louis.
And then when he played at San Diego State in college, this dude is always a beast, man. Yep, ended up being Falk. P. Mike, anything before we start getting ready to wrap things up?
Hold on. Oh no. I thought I saw something about Corey Trice pop up, and it was from a yesterday tweet. I got nothing. I got nothing, man. Other
my
than
thing is this.
Steelers are awesome.
Oh, definitely. I'm enjoying
Stop
this
it.
this Victory Monday so much.
Oh,
Here's my thing. The NBA, Mike, their 23-24 combined payroll was 4.9 billion. The NBA's 23-24 combined payroll 4.9 billion. 2023 OnlyFans creators 6.6 billion dollars. 6.6 billion. That was the 2023 number from
I saw that.
OnlyFans creators. Again, the NBA 23 and 24 combined payroll 4.9 billion. Interesting.
Heck yeah. I know where you know where to find me now.
Yeah, right. Oh God, I don't want to find you there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, guys, tonight
Someone will pay for this.
you don't want to miss
Someone will
tonight.
pay
We
for
got
this.
two Monday night football games, Mike. The Jaguars at Bills, that's a 7:30 game, and then Washington at Cincinnati. That's the 8:15 game. Be nice if Washington could do us a favor and hand the Bengals another loss for us. We will see. So don't forget to check those out. Tomorrow we'll be going over the picks for the week. Of course, we have two more games to get through before we can do that. So Darby will be back tomorrow morning with us to go over the picks. A lot at stake. Of course, the Permani brothers uh, at the end of the season. So the guys are taking this awfully serious this year. Mike and Derpy are tied one week apiece. So tomorrow, don't forget to tune in and check that out. Also, Mike, I do want to say before we go off, I want to say to you, check out Brian on One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Sunday morning, you can catch us over there with him doing a pregame show at 11 o'clock a.m. It goes 11 to 12. He also has a radio show Wednesday in the middle of the week. That goes from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Wednesday on 99.3 WBVP Beaver County Radio. You can check out right here on YouTube, Facebook, or go to the website and navigate from there. And also, he's been Mike. Did you see the new video, the Caitlin Clark video that he put out
I did.
yesterday?
Yeah.
He's doing really good. I'm really enjoying these videos. Again, check them out as well right here on YouTube. You could go over to One Man's Opinion with Brian Pasquale to find them. There was a pretty cool Caitlin Clark video, a few minutes long. It's just really neat the way he does them. Also, Mike, I do want to tell everyone thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us today. We appreciate each and every one of you. As
Mm-hmm.
always, we certainly couldn't do it without you. I want to thank everybody on the board, as always, for keeping things interesting, and everybody at home as well. Um, Mike, that might be it for me, man.
That's all I got too, man. I'm just ecstatic that our excuse me, our offense and defensive lines are playing physical football again. This is what I want to see.
Yes,
Like
Pittsburgh Steelers
rewatching
guys.
that game, man, and hearing the pops of every hit again.
I'm feeling confident. As I said, Mike, we're going to Indianapolis next. I mean, we could be 4-0. There's no two ways about it,
Yeah.
unless we go up there and fall into a trap game situation. But as what I seen yesterday, and from what I'm seeing around the league, we're just as much in this as anybody else at
Oh
this
yeah.
point in time. There's only 5 unbeaten teams left. It's us, Kansas City, Buffalo, Minnesota, and Seattle over in the NFC. The Bengals, they lose tonight. That'd be great. If the Bills lost tonight, that could also help
Mm-hmm.
us out in the big picture. So we got those things going for us. The Steelers looking good, 3-0. Had a good offensive outing yesterday. The quarterback was doing some nice things. The defense looked fantastic. So we got to be feeling really good about the way things are going, Mike. And I feel better than I did yesterday pregame.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So
pregame, you were
they
pregame,
sold
and
me.
even after the game, bro, you were like,
You know what?
and I saw you like hours later.
Yeah. After I
You
got my
caught
nap,
back up, and you're like, oh man, this is a great game. I'm
I
like,
require naps.
yeah, it was
I
like,
require many naps a
yeah, you
day.
were very schizophrenic with this game yesterday. You're very calm watching it. I did not like that.
Yeah,
That
it's usually
freaked
the
me out,
opposite. I'm
bro.
pacing and you're usually calm.
Yeah, I'm
Yesterday
usually
was
calm, sitting there just
I was yinging,
analyzing.
you were
Yeah,
yanging.
yeah. But yeah, man, this team's looking good, and they're watching teams around the league. The Steelers are looking consistent, whereas a lot of teams you don't know what they're getting week to week. Yeah, it helps that we're 3-0, but
Yes.
each
They,
game,
you're good
you
teams
see,
around the league. They're
yeah,
just not looking
you have to be
consistent.
consistent, and
Yeah.
they're getting a little bit better each game, each week. So that's a good sign, and the sign that I think the show should end. Brian Slight just said, "I'm out."
But
Brian's like, "I'm
there's not
tired
too
of hearing no."
much
His light
but
knew I was going to talk about
there's
Cam
not too
Hayward.
much going on tonight, so there's not going to be much to watch. But
Yep.
the two NFL Monday Night Football games, I get to get out of work at the radio station a little bit earlier today than I usually would. So I'm going to come home, get ready to watch football. I got two games again. We could root for, we want the Bills to lose. We want Cincinnati to lose. Those could certainly happen, Mike. It wouldn't be out of the question by everything that I've seen around the league so far this year.
Yeah, I
But
think we can.
that's it for me, man.
That's
Speak
it for
now or
me.
forever hold your peace.
I got nothing. Good show, man.
All right. Likewise, as always, join us tomorrow. Again, we have Derpy in tomorrow. We'll be going over picks. We'll be talking about the Monday Night Football games from tonight. And we'll continue to dive into more statistics and numbers and film on the Steeler game to talk about for the next few days. And then we'll start getting ready for the Colts as we start coming near the end of the week. But, guys, a lot of good things. Again, you got to be happy with these Pittsburgh football teams that play on the North Shore. I can tell you that I certainly am. So, feeling good on this Victory Monday. We'll be back
Great.
tomorrow at our regular time to do it all over again. We want to thank everybody one more time. For Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself, everybody have a great day. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it, man.
Glad you joined the Two Dumb Ninjas. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.